Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Investigators in Cars Drinking Coffee.
Good afternoon.
I'm your host, Mark Murnan, certified legal investigator, certified fraud examiner, and I'm joined once again by my partner and co-host, Wendy Strom Murnan, licensed private investigator, certified paralegal. And
That's a lot of certified.
That is a lot of It's a lot of initials, which, have extensive value here.
Yes.
So anyway, we're going to talk today to you about business. And not just about our business, essentially, but the real question is this a good time or a bad time to start your own business?
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. And I think it's addressed based on some inquiries we've had and some conversations we've had with other people.
Yeah.
But we just coming out, so to speak, of a pandemic. We have a lot of intense civil unrest all over the country. Is this a good time to start your own business?
Oof.
Yeah. So
when is a good time to start a business?
When is a good time to start your own
business?
business?
That's the real question.
Well, and I think there's a number of factors that have to be. First of all, if you're just thinking about starting a business now, you're probably at least a year away from actually pulling the trigger and doing it.
You should be, yes.
Yeah, because what's involved before you quit a job or just go into your own business? What are some of the things that are involved?
Planning. Yes.
Planning.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's exactly what we did. That was we started our company. I had planned for about a year, beginning in about the year 2000. This is a long time ago. We started discussing about our future.
Yeah.
You were facing a position where your employer, your longtime employer, was going to be retiring. Not in the immediate future, but in the near future. And I had a good government job, leaving a lot of time on the table, and I just thought we could do better on our own. So we planned, we secured a little bit of financing, but we had a business plan, we had a strategy. We also started our company, a personal services business, so it didn't have a lot of inventory, didn't have to have any employees in the beginning.
Startup costs were not high.
Startup costs were not an entrance were not a barrier to entrance.
We still needed.
But it was a risk.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was about to leave a very good salary with a lot of good benefits with the federal government, and you, of course, were going to continue working for a while, but not permanently. But the timing was critical because we had made a decision to start in October of 2001.
Right.
And 3 weeks before, of course, 20 days before, is 9/11.
Oof. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very strange time.
Yeah.
But because we already had financing, we'd already secured office space, we'd already had a plan.
Had a business plan.
And we already had clients because we were in a field that we were both pretty well known in. It was not as big a risk as if you and I maybe opened up an ice cream shop.
Right.
Or some other type of business.
Right.
But what's the difference between, say, a personal service business and a retail store?
Well, a personal service business, you're it. You're the money producer. So what you can bill only what you can do personally. Like Mark said, though, the overhead's not high, and with retail, it's a large inventory, and you are what you sell.
Yeah. And you have to be able to be open all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different types of businesses if you've thought about opening a business. But if you're going to open a private investigative business or a personal services business, perhaps a chiropractic business, perhaps a law and services business, or any one of 100 court reporting business, is it a good time? And that is going to be completely determined by you as an individual or as a team as to when to start and what are the risks involved. And we're visited once again by our little cardinal friend. Hello, buddy.
I think he wants to be an investigator.
I
This
think so,
cardinal,
too.
We get him every time we park here.
Yeah. He just took off again. Anyway.
He's like one of our team.
Shiny objects. I'm distracted by shiny objects. I've been told that by my business partner.
Yeah. So how did it work out? 9/11, happened. We went ahead, forged ahead, and.
Yep.
And how did you do?
We did very well because again if you have to know your aversion to risk.
Mm-hmm.
If you are risk averse and just need the security of a paycheck week to week, then self-employment or owning a business may not be your cup of tea. if you can live with, if you're a high risk taker and you have access to lots of funds, then then maybe you can take a bit of you can ride the ups and downs a little bit differently. But I think what we did was we took some calculated risks and mitigated against those risks with preparation.
Right, and I kept my job for 2 years.
Yep.
Until I couldn't take it anymore. And suddenly left, but that worked out too. Was that the right time for me to leave? I don't know.
Yeah.
It was at the moment, and it worked out.
It did. It did. And it worked out very well for a number of years. And then, of course, we hit the recession, and we had to pare back and make some significant changes, but we rode that out too.
Right. And then after I quit my job and started with Mark, I took a few months off.
Right.
He's never forgiven me for that.
Took 2 months.
And I got very sick.
Yeah.
And so
about 8 months into it, she was diagnosed with a pretty aggressive form of breast cancer.
Yeah, and we're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and we got through that too.
We did. We cut our insurance and catastrophic policy. And just everything just managed to work out. But again, it took a lot of faith, took a lot of persistence. But I will say this, is money problems are a lot easier to deal with than health problems or family problems, because you can work yourself out of money problems.
Right, right.
And I think if you're going to start a business, you have to know the risk. You have to be able to be comfortable with a certain amount of risk, and you need to have a plan, and you got to execute the plan. So maybe I ought to make it that 4-point plan.
Yeah. And I remember someone telling me, I asked her, she was in business, personal service, what's the most important thing? And she said, you need a rainy day fund. And that is so true. You've got to have some available cash somewhere, on a line, whatever it is, second mortgage, whatever it is. Don't try to go into business without some backup money.
Without some cushion.
Yeah, because it's a roller coaster.
Yeah, it is. The first few years are a lot of ups and downs, and if you can access some not long-term perhaps, but interim financing with a home equity line of credit, or if you have savings that you're not afraid to touch, anything you need. I wouldn't do credit cards. That's a risky business there with that high interest.
Yeah.
But you really do have to have you have to know what the risk is. You have to mitigate against the risk. You have to be comfortable with risk. You have to have a plan. Then you got to execute the plan. So I've gone from 4 to 5.
Wow. Okay. Well, usually there's 6, aren't they?
Well, let's stick with 5 points. Yeah.
The other thing is about, is this a good time? I mean, every time we have adversity, there's opportunity. And there are things out there right now that the pandemic has created that have made opportunities for people. So, think of things, don't start, like a facial store or something, massage place right now. That's probably not the best thing, but there are opportunities that have been created by this adversity.
We have a couple friends of ours who are taking their personal training business online.
Yeah.
I mean, people aren't leaving much home. They're not going down to the gym right away. They're going back to a certain degree, but what a great time to be an online personal trainer and having systems in place. But that's that's a subject of another video.
So is it or is it not a good time to start a business?
Great question, and the answer is it's up to you. You have to make that determination.
Right.
It was for us because we had a plan and we had the financing and we executed the plan and we stuck to the plan.
Yes.
I've come up with all these numbers. I should put them into it.
And we had a lot of guts.
Yeah, we did. We were not totally risk averse.
No.
I'm probably, Wendy's more conservative than I am, but I'm not crazy about risk either. It was a good job with the government, and but it worked for us, and it worked for us despite a lot of setbacks and a lot of difficulty.
Yeah.
But when you make a commitment like that to be self-employed or to run a business, you just assume the risk and you work your way through it.
That's right.
So anyway, just a couple tips about what it takes to run a business, and is it a good time to start a business? Is it a bad time to start a business? You got to make that decision. But if you know the risk, if you're comfortable with the risk, if you mitigate against the risk, have a plan and execute the plan. I think
then it's a good time to start a business.
Then it's a good time to start a business. So anyway, by the way, if you've not already subscribed, it's still not too late. We've got a couple of new subscribers. If you will send me your email address or someplace I can Direct mail me. Don't have to post that on the website, but direct message me on Twitter. I will send you a couple of these. We will send you a couple of these cool coasters. It says Investigators in Cars. And we're trying to come up with a promotional thing to promote some of these mugs as well.
Yeah.
But
Think of something.
in the meantime, have a great week. Make it a great week, and we will see you next time on Investigators in Cars Drinking Coffee.
Have a good weekend.